Hey, it's Harry from SMB Nation. You will never believe where I am. So, Stephen Church, sir, thanks for inviting me.
Most welcome.
For those in our SMB Nation audience that don't know who you are, who are you, where are you from, and what do you do with your day job?
All right, Steve Church. I'm from Cheshire, Oregon, but we work out of Eugene, Oregon.
Yep.
Cobalt Computer Services is a daytime job, owner-operator there, and we basically are similar to an MSP and take care of all of our customers by day.
Yeah. So, what in the heck did you talk me into driving up here to Port Angeles, Washington to see? What is this sport?
So, this is jet sprint boat racing. It originated in the States in the late 90s, came over from New Zealand.
Yep.
They originated it there. There's a lot of old history from that part of the world. I became a member of this crew. Imagine this, having to work on computer stuff for them. They have a system on to monitor everything, so we monitor all the engine stuff, and they brought me along because I happen to know how to run it, and then here we are. 7-8 years forward, and I went from crew person to navigator, and this year's my rookie season of driving. So Harry came out to see our craziness here in Port Angeles.
Yeah, and I got a couple good snaps of you going around, and it unbelievable. So it's for those of you, I'll put the snaps up on the screen, but for those of you that, if you can imagine, it's sort of like a couple of figure eights in a waterway. How wide is the canal?
Each channel is probably 14 feet wide and about 6 to 8 feet deep, depending on where you're at on the track and where you're at in the channel. Also, for just your information later, this is all on YouTube, so you can restream it and watch it, anything.
Yep.
But
put a link off to that.
Perfect.
Okay, tell me about your boat. How long is the boat? What's the story?
This is a 13-foot boat. It's about 6 feet wide. It's a jet speed hull. It's made out of the South Island of New Zealand. We've got a Scott pump, a Chevy engine. We can go into a lot of details, but I don't want to bore you on all that fun.
Well, I'll tell you what. Something our audience will recognize is our friends over at App River. So what's your relationship with App River, and why is their logo on your boat?
Well, App River and I came into fruition. I had a vendor disappear. They happened to fall into place. Met with them. Worked out really good for getting our hosted exchange, spam filtering, and all the other various pieces. Our Office 365 CSP goes through them. I ended up speaking with Jim at App River about boats and fun and all that, and he says, well, what's going to take to get us on that boat? And we put in a request, and they honored the request. Last year we came together, and now we have an App River wrapped boat. We don't have any swag out here yet, but they're working on that. So
and it's a really interesting twist for the SMB Nation community, the MSP community, that you're engaging with your vendor sponsors in your off hours. Hey, final question. So, if I had to speculate, it maybe a couple dozen boats here today and several hundred people. If
I would say, just quick glance at the board, we've got probably 23, 24 teams running today in the 3 classes.
Yeah.
And we'll probably, at the end of the day, probably be at 6,000 to 8,000 people.
Oh, wow. Well, it just shows I can't count audience size, so I'll let the wiser minds do that. Hey, man, good luck. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right.